Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grow Through English channel, the place where we speak simple English, share real thoughts, and grow together. Before we start, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself a simple question? Who are you? Not your name, not your job, not what you study, not the roles you play every day, but really, who are you? Most of us never stop to ask this. And even if we do, we don't know how to answer because we were taught to describe ourselves using labels. Student, employee, daughter, son, the strong one, the quiet one, the responsible one. But none of these are actually you. They are just things you do. Somewhere along the way, we confused who we are with what we are expected to be, and slowly, without noticing, we started living a life that looks right, but doesn't feel right. You wake up, you go through your day, you talk, you smile, you function, but deep inside, something feels off, not broken, not dramatic, just disconnected, like you're living on autopilot, like you're playing a role you learned very well, but forgot why you started? The scary part is that this doesn't happen suddenly. You don't wake up one day and lose yourself. You lose yourself slowly. By choosing what's safe over what's true, by pleasing others more than listening to yourself, by ignoring small feelings until they become silence. At first, you tell yourself, this is normal. Everyone feels like this. And maybe that's true. But normal doesn't mean healthy. Because when you don't know who you really are, life becomes heavy. You feel tired even when you rest. You feel bored even when you're busy. You feel lost even when everything looks fine. And you start asking questions like, why don't I feel like myself anymore? Why do I feel empty for no reason? Why does nothing excite me the way it used to? But the real question is, when was the last time you actually listened to yourself? Not your thoughts, not your fears, not the noise, but your real inner voice, the one that knows what you need, what you don't, what feels right, and what never did. Most people never meet that version of themselves because meeting yourself requires honesty. And honesty is uncomfortable. It forces you to admit that some choices weren't yours, that some dreams were borrowed, that some versions of you were created just to survive. And survival mode is not the same as living. In this episode, we're not trying to label you or tell you who you should be. We're slowing down to remember who you were before the world told you who to become. This is not about changing everything overnight. It's about awareness. Because once you start seeing the difference between who you are and who you pretend to be, you can't unsee it. And that's where the journey really begins. Let's talk about how we lose ourselves in the first place. Because nobody wakes up and decides, today I will forget who I am. It happens quietly, in small moments, over many years. It starts when you learn that being yourself is not always accepted. Maybe when you were young, you were told to calm down, to stop talking so much, to stop being sensitive, to stop asking questions. So you adjusted, you learned which parts of you were welcome and which parts caused problems. You learned when to speak and when to stay quiet. Slowly, you didn't change who you were. You just hid parts of yourself. Then school happened. Grades, comparison, pressure. You started believing that your value comes from performance, from results, from approval, from doing things right. So you tried harder. You became more responsible, more controlled, more acceptable, and less real. Then life added more layers. Expectations, responsibilities, fear of failure, and the mask became heavier. You smiled even when you didn't feel okay. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You followed paths that looked good on the outside, even if they felt empty on the inside. And the longer you wear a mask, the more you forget it's a mask. Until one day, you stop and think, why don't I know what I want? Why do I feel disconnected from myself? That confusion is not weakness. It's a sign that your real self is still there, waiting. Because here's the truth. You never actually lose who you are. You just lose access to it. Your real self doesn't disappear. It gets buried under noise, fear, and expectations. And when you don't listen to yourself for too long, your body and mind start speaking for you, through stress, through anxiety, through exhaustion, through emptiness, not to punish you, but to wake you up? Many people think finding yourself means becoming someone new, but it's the opposite. It means removing, not adding, removing the pressure, removing the fake confidence, removing the shoulds, and asking simple but honest questions. What drains me? What gives me energy? What feels natural? What feels forced? You don't need deep answers yet. You just need honesty. Because the moment you start being honest with yourself, even quietly, even privately, you are already coming back. In the next part, we'll talk about how to recognize your real self in daily life and how to tell the difference between intuition and fear. Now let's talk about something very important. How do you tell the difference between your real self and the voices that are not really you? Because not every thought in your head is your truth. Some thoughts come from fear. Some come from past experiences. Some come from people who influenced you. Parents, teachers, society, social media. Your real self is usually quiet. It doesn't shout. It doesn't rush. It doesn't pressure. Fear is loud. Fear is urgent. Fear says you must decide now. You must prove yourself. You must not fail. Your real self feels calm. Even when it says hard things, it might say, "This is not right for me," even if everyone else likes it. It might say, "I'm tired," even when you think you shouldn't be. It might say, "I want something different," even if it scares you. One way to recognize your real self is to notice your body. Your body reacts before your mind explains. When something is right for you, you feel lighter, more open, more relaxed. When something is wrong, your chest feels tight, your stomach feels heavy, your energy drops. Many people ignore this because they were taught to trust logic only, but your body holds a deep kind of intelligence. Another sign of your real self is how you feel when you are alone, not scrolling, not distracted, just you. What thoughts come up? What do you miss? What do you avoid? Silence can feel uncomfortable, but it's honest. Your real self often shows up in quiet moments. Late at night, early in the morning, when no one is watching. It shows up in things you do naturally, without forcing yourself, what you enjoy without needing validation, what you care about even if no one notices. Your real self is also connected to values, not goals. Goals can change, but values stay. Do you value freedom, creativity, connection, growth, peace? When you live against your values, you feel lost, even if you look successful. Another important thing, your real self is not perfect. It has flaws, fears, contradictions. You can be strong and sensitive, confident and unsure, motivated and tired. Being real doesn't mean being positive all the time. It means being honest. Many people think, if I'm struggling, that means something is wrong with me. But often, struggle means you are outgrowing an old version of yourself. You are becoming more aware, more awake. And awareness can feel uncomfortable, but it's also powerful. Because once you see, you cannot unsee. And once you start listening to yourself, even a little, your life slowly starts to align. Not perfectly, but truthfully, if you want. Now let's bring everything together. Who you really are is not something you suddenly discover in one moment. It's something you remember slowly, gently. You were always there, but life got loud. Expectations got heavy, opinions got confusing, and you learned to adapt. You learned how to survive, how to fit in, how to be accepted. And somewhere along the way, you forgot to ask, what do I feel? What do I want? What feels true to me? Finding who you really are is not about changing yourself. It's about removing what is not you. It's about letting go of roles you no longer need, of masks you no longer want to wear. It's about choosing honesty over performance. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need a perfect identity. You don't need a clear label. You just need awareness. Awareness of your feelings, your reactions, your energy. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to outgrow people, dreams, paths. That doesn't make you fake. It makes you human. Who you really are is revealed through small choices how you treat yourself when no one is watching, what you say yes to, what you finally say no to. It shows in boundaries, in rest, in the courage to slow down. It shows when you stop proving and start living. And here's something important. You don't need permission to be yourself. You don't need to explain your inner world to everyone. Some people will understand, some won't, and that's okay. Not everyone is meant to access you. Not everyone deserves the real you. Your job is not to be understood by everyone. Your job is to be true to yourself. Because when you live disconnected from who you really are, life feels heavy, confusing, draining. But when you start aligning, even slowly, life feels lighter, not easier, but clearer. You make decisions with less regret. You feel more at peace with yourself. You trust yourself more, and trust changes everything. So if you feel lost right now, if you feel disconnected, if you feel like you don't recognize yourself, that doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're ready. Ready to listen, ready to slow down, ready to reconnect. Start small. Ask yourself honest questions. Give yourself quiet moments. Pay attention to how you feel. You don't need to rush this journey. This is not a race. This is a return to who you really are. Thank you for listening to this episode of Grow Through English Channel. I hope this episode made you pause, reflect, and feel a little closer to yourself. If you enjoyed this episode, do me a quick favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next one. Let's keep growing together. Let's grow through English.